Casey's Hot 20.
And that means we're up to the number one song of 1996 on Casey's Hot 20. It's by a singer and guitarist who once got a stinging rejection from a major record company. They told her, next time, tune your guitar. It happened back when she was a high school student at the Worcester School in Danbury, Connecticut. She was well known at her school for her songwriting and singing. She often serenaded the students and faculty on the mall and in the school's chapel. Well, one day, one of her classmates recorded the teenager singing, and they thought the tape was so good that the classmate sent it to her uncle. He worked at Columbia Records, and she thought maybe he could help her friend get a recording contract. The classmate was sure that as soon as the powers that be at Columbia heard that tape, they'd jump at the chance to sign up her friend. But it didn't quite turn out that way. A short time later, the teenage singer got a letter in the mail from Columbia, and she remembers it. The letter went something like, "We're sorry to say it's too early in your development to consider giving you a recording contract." And then the letter finished by giving her some good sound advice. Please tune your guitar next time. As disappointing as that was, the teenage singer didn't give up, but she did tune up. And now, 4 albums later, she has the biggest hit of her career, a song that spent 7 weeks at number 1 on our weekly survey, sold over 1 million copies, and today comes in as the biggest hit of the year. The number 1 song of 1996 on Casey's Hot 20 is by Tracy Chapman. Give Me One Reason.
America's Top Hits.
3 years ago this week, one of the top hits in the USA was the comeback hit for a singer who says what she likes to do between albums is disappear. This singer-songwriter says growing up in Cleveland, she always dreamed about one day seeing the world. She swore to herself that someday she was going to see it all. And after she put out her first album in 1988, she started making her dream of seeing the world come true. Along with some friends, she rented a mobile home and drove back and forth across America, seeing all the cities and towns that she'd read about for years. Then she went to Europe for a year, renting apartments in one city after another and seeing the continent at her leisure, all the while writing songs and music for her next album. That album came out in 1992, and once again, after she finished it, she was off traveling. This time she journeyed through Africa, explored the blues scene in the American South, and went to Mexico and Central America. She also wrote while she was on the road, and she came up with the song that brought her back to the top 40 after an 8-year absence. With one of the top hits in the USA 3 years ago this week, here's Tracy Chapman with Give Me One Reason.
Casey's Coast to Coast.
I'm Casey Kasem. We're counting down the hottest songs in the USA. 8 years ago this week, back in 1996, one of the hottest songs was by Tracy Chapman, a woman who's famous for disappearing for months on end in between albums. She says she's not gone. She just likes to go on long trips to little-known parts of the world. Here's Tracy Chapman with Give Me One Reason.
American Top 20. Top 20.
Well, now we're up to an AT20 extra. The song Give Me One Reason by Tracy Chapman, a singer who dealt with writer's block by listening to the music her mother loved. This September, Tracy Chapman will be releasing Where You Live, her first album in 3 years. She says it wasn't an easy album to write, at least not at first. Quote, "Nothing seemed right. My songs felt empty, and so I let go for a while." She went to a record store and she picked up a bunch of R&B collections, music from the 50s and the 60s that her mother used to play around the house. Tracy says, "I remember singing along with this music, songs by Ray Charles, the Stylistics, the Miracles. They took me back to my roots, and they reminded me why I do what I do." After that, Tracy wrote her new album in nothing flat, filling it with what she calls, quote, "the best music I've made in a long time." Now with an extra on American Top 20, here's Tracy Chapman with her smash from 1996, Give Me One Reason.
Give me one reason to stay here, and I'll turn right back around.